الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. الحديث الثامن. حدثنا محمد بن خالد حدثنا يونس بن يحيى حدثنا عبد الأول بن عيسى حدثنا عبد الأعلى المديحي حدثنا إسماعيل بن إبراهيم حدثنا محمد بن مظفر عن أبي أيوب سليمان بن محمد عن يوسف بن سعيد عن الحجاج بن محمد عن أبي بكر بن هزلي عن الشعبي عن أبي هريرة عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: يقول الله عز وجل: ابن آدم إذا ذكرتني شكرتني وإذا نسيتني كفرتني.
8th Hadith. According to Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, may God give him blessings and peace, said, God, ever mighty and majestic is He, says, O child of Adam, when you remember me, you're grateful to me, and when you forget me, you're unfaithful to me.
It's very simple way, of explanation. I'm sorry to tell you, if you want to relate yourself to anyone, is going to give you long list. When you finish that list, it's going to give you another list and third one and endless lists. Okay, whereas here you see the simplicity of it, to build your relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whenever you are in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala consider this as thanking Him. Okay, whenever you, not you, whenever anyone, forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's going to be considered as disbelief. You see the simplicity of it, it's a matter of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Get yourself involved with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Have yourself, always relate yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm going to speak about one negative point here, that some people, they feel themselves that they are as such, but they have long list, of needs, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A woman, she called me while I was in Damascus, a few days ago. Medically, I advised her children that she needs some, sample, taken of that node or whatever. She said, I'm going to have complete reliance on Allah subhanahu. That's what she said, and it's going to cure me. I'm a bad person. I said, if you are interested in being cured, don't rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when you rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who's going to take the decision for you, not yourself. You have the previous, determined decision that you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure you. Okay? This is maybe understood, by some people, but for me, it's not understandable. When I relate myself to the one who is the most wisdom and the one who is most knowledgeable and the one who has the best strength, and this and that, I shouldn't dictate on him we should do so, okay? And this has been summarized by who? By a famous companion, Sayyidina Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. This is narrated by Abdullah ibn Sa'id, a famous reciter of Quran, who was of the genial companion. He said when Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, he came Mecca for Umrah, you have a large, long queue. Everyone has something, to ask Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas to make dua, because he was described by the Prophet as his dua is accepted. And this is what his child, the other one, this, you name it. And then Abdullah ibn Sa'd said, oh, uncle, you hardly see, anything, Why wouldn't make dua, to have better sight, in this regard? He said, listen, son, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves, I love. Okay? And here, you see this great man, he make dua for everyone, and for himself, he's going to rely completely on the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And these are the matter of the real lovers, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I learned it from a very famous poet, lover of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when he tried to describe, tried to address, his relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is going to have it as such. Whereas the rest of our people, including myself perhaps, we go by our benefit, by our interest, We declare that we love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we love ourselves, We need something, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That person, Sayyidina Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas, and that the other person, the poet, they clarified it very clearly, how they are going to have complete reliance, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decide about it. And that's what the Prophet will say when he has this, the worst day ever, as he was asked, what did he speak with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about? He said, إِن لَمْ يَكُنْ بِكَ غَضَبٌ عَلَيَّ فَلَا أُبَالِي. If you are not angry with me, I don't care. Okay? He did not even ask to lift up, this heavy and difficult position that he was put at, sallallahu alayhi. So here, it's very simple, I don't want to have it complicated, Whenever you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this considered from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala side as thanking Him, and whenever you forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, someone forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is considered as disbelief. Move to next hadith. حدثنا أبو عبد الله محمد بن خالد الصدفي حدثنا يونس بن يحيى عن أبي الوقت الهروي عن ابن المظفر الداوودي عن أبي محمد الحموي عن فربي عن البخاري عن أبي اليمان عن شعيب عن أبي زناد عن أعرج عن أبي هريرة عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الله عز وجل أنفق عليك وقال يد الله ملأى لا يغيضها نفقة سحاء الليل والنهار وقال أرأيتم ما أنفق منذ خلق السماء والأرض فإنه لم يغض ما في يده وكان عرشه على الماء وبيده الميزان يخفض ويرفع.
Ninth hadith. According to Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, may God give him blessings and peace, said, God, ever mighty and majestic is He, says, provide for others and I shall provide for you. Again he said, the hand of God is full. Its fullness is not diminished by constant provision, flowing night and day. He added, have you not seen what He has provided since the creation of the heavens and the earth? Yet it has not diminished that which is in His hand. His throne is upon the water, and in His hand is the balance which rises or falls.
Again, this reminder for a chain, this is the most famous chain of Bukhari. Start with Abil Waqt al-Harawi till Bukhari. This is the most famous chain. Okay. Then this, who is going to spend money, It's the one who has full confidence in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from everyone, to have this full confidence and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then what for me, you may have different story, what is a warning sign when He said يَخْفِضُ وَيَرْفَعُ. We are on a day-to-day basis, either we get higher or closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or some people, they may get more far or down, in the scale of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And the most major dramatic one, is belief and disbelief. Surah Al-Bayyinah is short surah, Surah in Juz' Amma. When you read this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts speaking about people of book. Towards the end of surah, which is quite short surah, he starts to describe them, the disbeliever of people of book. You got this point? See that they were in a certain position, then they dropped down. And this has been summarized, in the verse, in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah waliyyu alladhina amanu yukhrijuhum min al-dhulumati ila an-nur. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَوْلِيَاؤُهُمُ الطَّاغُوتُ يُخْرِجُونَهُم مِنَ النُّورِ إِلَى الظُّلُمَاتِ. I have very alive example of it, You have those Sadatun al-Ansar al-Aws wal-Khazraj. They were completely illiterate. They have no idea about the prophethood, about the message, about Allah, about anything. And those people of book who used to reside in Medina al-Munawwara, they are one of the highly educated people in this. You have what we call them nowadays religious people. What's the meaning of religious man? That means that this person, whether he is man or woman, he spent all of his life, relating himself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then those religious people, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did show up to Medina, they have complete rejection. And the Taghut did take them from the illumination, to the darkness. And those other people, Al-Aws wal Khazraj, they became Ansarullah, okay? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they transfer it as friend or perhaps loyal or something, He took them, from the darkness to the illumination. What does this tell me? All of us, be careful. Perhaps one word or one action is going to make you go down or go up. Okay? The problem about it, I'm speaking about myself. I don't know what word is going to take me up or down. See, I gave this example about Sayyidina al-Fudayl ibn Iyad. This person used to be thief, and everyone was horrified from him, and only he heard this verse, recited by someone, أَلَمْ يَأْنِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ, and he has dramatic change, and he became the famous Fudayl ibn Iyad that we know. In my imagination, I may be wrong, you have heard this verse, many times before it. But this was the time because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has in His hand the scale and make someone get upgraded, and someone put him down. Okay? And that's why if you have nice time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask Allah, beg Him to make you upgraded all the time. Okay? To ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whatever He is pleased with, These are the rare opportunities, at least in my life, perhaps in someone else, there are plenty, the opportunity, to get along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to speak with Allah, to show your needs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for such thing, And the best thing, to ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever He wants you to do. That's why when the Prophet ﷺ used to love Sayyidina Mu'adh ibn Jabal a lot, he told him, say after each prayer, Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. He did not ask him to say better life, better house, better car, or whatever. No, Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. I'm going to speak this, I'm sorry, don't take it, to have good thoughts, about me. Have very bad thoughts, about me. I keep traveling all the time. Sometimes I'm stuck, in the airplane, I have main concern, about prayer. Whenever I say, Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni, really, not in easy way, in most easiest way, that I never mention, never imagine about it, never have the thought, you are going to find that I'm going to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see? And here, what I'm trying to say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is too close to all of us, And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here in charge to fulfill the needs, of everyone, And those who are smart among us, they are going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something that make them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make them quite help, in achieving something which has been instructed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Move to next hadith. حديث 10 حدثنا مسعود عبد الله بن الحبشي حدثنا يوسف بن يحيى عن عبد الأول بن عيسى عن عبد الأعلى بن عبد الواحد عن إسماعيل بن إبراهيم عن أحمد بن محمد مؤذن عن محمد بن إسحاق بن خزيمة عن علي بن خشرم عن عيسى بن يونس عن الأوزاعي عن إسماعيل بن عبيد الله عن أم الدرداء قال سمعت أبا هريرة يقول قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله عز وجل يقول أنا مع عبدي إذا هو ذكرني وتحركت بي شفتاه.
10th Hadith, according to Abu Hurairah, the Messenger of God, may God give him blessings and peace, said, God, ever mighty and majestic as He says, I am with my servant when he remembers me, and when his lips move in mention of me.
Again, the first one is the student of Sheikh radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and this is, I remember the term, which was not al-ali wal-nazir, riwayat al-akabir an al-asabir. Okay, this is the term they use in Arabic, رواية الأكابر, the senior from the junior, and here you may have it as such, and the first one to do it was the Prophet ﷺ when he narrated that particular hadith from Tamim al-Dari as narrated in Sahih Muslim. Here, for this hadith, I see it go a step further, to clarify what has been mentioned in hadith number 8, about إذا ذكرتني شكرتني, whenever you remember Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it here physical, وتحركت بي شفتاه. Okay, even the person who kept forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not in full remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at least you should initiate and start, have the tongue, and lips movement, in making dhikr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If this recharges the heart, and the heart became in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time, you are too lucky. If you did not do it, you are in the process of it. Even if you pass away, this is, I think, it's very good way, of facing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you are on this way, of getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here, the reward of it, or the outcome of it, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to join you. Ma'iyya, ana ma'a abdi. Okay? That's me. This is, some people they say, what's the point of it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did say in Quran, وَهُمْ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. The scholars, they said, you have something common for everyone and something special for someone. So here is the ma'iyya, is special ma'iyya, it's not the ordinary ma'iyya. When the Prophet ﷺ did tell Sayyidina Abu Bakr, لَا تَحْزَنْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَنَا. Okay, this ma'iyya is not the common one that has been mentioned elsewhere in the Holy Quran. No, this is special one. Okay, and here all of us, we are interested in being special, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala standard or scale, and one of the way to be special, in that regard, to have your lips, move, in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Move to hadith number 11. حدثنا الشريف أبو محمد يونس بن يحيى عن أبي الوقت بن عيسى. Again, find that when you have the comparison, the repetition, of certain shuyukh of Sheikh Muhyiddin, عن عبد الأعلى بن عبد الواحد عن إسماعيل بن إبراهيم عن حسين بن أحمد الثقفي عن مكحول البيروتي عن إبراهيم بن عمرو عن أبيه عن غالب وابن مجاهد والمغيرة عن مجاهد عن عبد الله بن عمر عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ربكم عز وجل لا أجمع على عبد خوفين ولا أجمع له أمنين من خافني في الدنيا لم يخف في الآخرة وإن أمنني في الدنيا لم يأمن في الآخرة.
11th Hadith. According to Abdullah ibn Umar, the Prophet, may God give him blessings and peace, said, Your Lord, ever mighty and majestic is He, says, I shall not bring two fears together upon a servant, nor shall I bring together two securities upon him. If he fears me in this world, he shall have no fear in the other. And if he feels secure from me in this world, then he shall have no security in the other.
Here, firstly, we should speak about what we love and what we hate. And what we love, not necessarily to be loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What we hate, not necessarily to be hated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of us, we hate to have, not all of us, most of us, we hate to have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, is not of no need of any of us, He wants us to experience His security and experience His fear. Because your knowledge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to build up on this, And He made it as a rule. Whenever you are secured in this life, you are going to be fearful in the hereafter. Whenever you are fearful in this life, you are going to be secure in the hereafter. For sure, there is no comparison because this life is quite short, when you compare it to the hereafter. Okay? And this is the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He wants this particular servant, to get know about the other aspect of it. And generally speaking, many of them activities that you have it in this life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to save you of having it in the hereafter, at least in my mind. Example of it. when you make qiyam, night prayer here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to save you of having long standing, in the hereafter. How long is it? 50,000 years. Okay? And when you have full confess to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to put you in a very miserable way, فَاعْتَرَفُوا بِذَنْبِهِمْ فَسُحْقًا لِأَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. Okay? It's either you confess, about your sins, toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here in this life or in the hereafter. The only exception I found to this, which is, you should feel it too important, prostration to Allah. Those who make prostration to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this life, they are the one who are permitted, to prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter. Those who did not practice prostration this life, وَقَدْ كَانُوا يَدْعَوْنَ إِلَى السُّجُودِ وَهُمْ سَالِمُونَ. His time is over. But I'm trying to say, we are in this life for short period of time. This is going to determine our future and career, okay? And that's why even if we may suffer sometimes, or have something hated to us, or whatever, you should feel that this life is the field or the farm that is going to decide for our outcome, or our result, in the hereafter. For sure, this is on our level, not on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala level, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the absolute and may do whatever He wants to do. Move to Hadith الثاني عشر. حدثنا محمد بن خالد الصدفي، حدثنا يونس بن يحيى، حدثنا أبو محمد عبد الله بن أحمد بن الحباب عن زاهد بن طاهر النيسابوري عن أبي سعد محمد بن عبد الرحمن الكنجبوري عن الحاكم أبي أحمد محمد الحافظ عن أبي بكر محمد واسط عن سويد بن سعيد الحدثاني عن مالك بن أنس عن عبد الله بن عبد الرحمن عن سعيد بن يسار عن أبي هريرة قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول الله عز وجل يوم القيامة أين المتحابون بجلالي اليوم أظلهم في ظلي يوم لا ظل إلا ظلي.
12th Hadith, according to Abu Hurairah, the Messenger of God, may God give him blessings and peace, said, God, ever mighty and majestic is He, shall say on the day of resurrection, where are those who have loved each other for the sake of my majesty? Today I shall shelter them in my shade, on a day when there is no shade but my shade.
We have many ahadith speaking about the shelter of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know this famous hadith about 7 different items of people that they are going to be sheltered, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His shadow subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in that particular hadith of the 7 people, you have وَرَجُلَانِ تَحَابَّا فِي اللَّهِ اجْتَمَعَ عَلَيْهِ وَافْتَرَقَا عَلَى ذَلِكَ. Okay, and this love, to love the person for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not for any other reason, has been highlighted in many different ahadith. One of them, to make you taste the sweetness, of your belief. وَأَنْ يُحِبَّ الرَّجُلَ لَا يُحِبُّهُ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. The first item, أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه مما سواهما. To love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger much more than anything else or anyone else. Then to love the person only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake. And what was the third item? The third item, you hate to go back to kufr, to convert back to other religion, as when you hate to go to hellfire. And these items really very important. Here, according to my understanding, you have this very easy work, to be done, and the reward of it is going to be tremendous and huge, okay? I should say, even though it's considered like easy one, but I'm telling you, your heart is not in your hand, Love is not by talk. Love is not by pretenders, or saying good morning or whatever. No, love is something in the heart. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? You see how majestic is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What did He say? وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَحُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ. Okay? You may have some barrier between yourself, and your heart. You may think that this is completely wrong, and your heart wants to do it. And you are going to do it eventually. regardless. Okay, and that's why. Do you have something to fix this heart? Yes, I was told by a knowledgeable person that the heart of the Quran, which is Yasin, is very good, to treat the heart of the humankind. Okay, but don't think for one moment that your heart in your hand and it's under your decision, and you may make whatever. Once Sayyidina Amr ibn al-As, one of the most intelligent one, or most smart one, he was asked, how come all of these people, they became Muslim before you? It's too silly, to worship, a few stones, or some idol or whatever. What did he answer? He said, what do you think about a person, his heart in the hand of someone else? This was his answer. Okay. So here, all of the believer, please appreciate what you have inside yourself. You have a light given to you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أَفَمَنْ شَرَحَ اللَّهُ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ فَهُوَ عَلَى نُورٍ مِّن رَبِّهِ. Okay. You have outside much more smart than you, much more righteous than you, much more knowledgeable than you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give them this illumination, which you were given. That's why you should appreciate this. You should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about it, a lot. And you should beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please Allah, don't take it away from me. Okay? I'm really bad person, but don't take this away from me. I'm real lover of the dunya, but don't take it away from me. Okay? Because according to the Prophet ﷺ, we are in a time where the person is going to lose his belief in Allah. Why? Because he sold it for a cheap price of this life. Okay. This may happen to some of the people, hopefully none to the audience. Okay. But it's going to have massive fitna when Al-Masih al-Dajjal show up. You want money? Take whatever you want. You want red? Take. You want green land? Take. You see? I'm your Lord. And anyone who follow him is going to have complete lost, Why? Because he lost his belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He lost it. And as one person told me about a dream he dreamt about it, the one of the most harsh thing, when you see one of the most beloved person to you, he followed the Dajjal. Okay? You have significant thought about that person, and you are going to find him, following the Dajjal. Why you are following the Dajjal? He's our Lord. Why is your Lord? Because he has this providence, of everything, that we are interested in this life. So I prefer for myself, and the one who believe me, okay, look after your heart. So see what interest you have in your heart. One day, in the time of the successor, a rumor took place, that at the Dajjal did show up. And that successor, what did he say? He said, it's no way to have him in this time. If he's going to show up in our times, our kids, and our children, they are going to throw stones, against him, But he's going to be shown up, in a time when they have bad thought, they have bad intellect. And this is our case, Now, we as Muslim, okay, we have the greatest thing, in our hand, to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to believe in His Messenger, to have the Islamic regulation. Some of us, they are interested in otherwise, They want to have better of life. They don't want to have better car. They want to have and Masih al-Dajjal is going to show up, and fulfill all of those needs, to him, And this for me sounds really bad. Okay, and that's why we should look after our hearts, and try to fix what needs to be fixed there. Move to next hadith. الحديث الثالث عشر. حدث أبو الحسن علي بن عبد الله الفرياني حدثنا يونس بن يحيى حدث أبو الوقت بن عيسى حدث عبد الأعلى بن عبد الواحد عن إسماعيل بن إبراهيم عن أحمد بن إبراهيم الإسماعيلي عن إسماعيل بن محمد المزني عن أبي نعيم بن لكي عن جعفر بن برقان عن يزيد بن الأصم عن أبي هريرة قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الله عز وجل أنا عند ظن عبدي بي وأنا مع عبدي إذا دعاني.
13th Hadith. According to Abu Hurairah, the Messenger of God, may God give him blessings and peace, said, God, ever mighty and majestic as He, says, I'm present in my servant's thought of me, and I'm with him when he beseeches me.
What did he say? Thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? The reality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are incapable of reaching it. Everyone, and I mean it, everyone has his own thought about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Inshallah, all the audience, they will have good thoughts, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some, they may have bad thoughts, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to look at it physically, you have been raised up. You are drowned of the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This experience with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to continue with you. That's why the knowledgeable person in Allah, what did he say? وَعَوَّدْتَنَا كُلَّ خَيْرٍ عَسَى يَدُومُ الَّذِي مِنْكَ عَوَّدْتَنَا. This is my expectation in Allah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the habit, to have those good matters, in our life, my expectation in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to have as such. Some people, they may have bad thoughts, Imam Ghazali did mention, I don't know how accurate this story, He mentioned about two partners or brothers, I don't know, who used to have the same action, in praying, in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the hereafter, one he entered the heaven, and was at the lowest level, and that the other one was at the highest level. He said, Ya Allah, how come we were partners, and how come I'm at the lowest level and he's at the highest level? He said, because whenever you make dua, you say, Allahumma ajni min nar wa adkhilni al-jannah. The other one, he said, Allahumma inni as'aluka ad-darajat al-'ulya fi al-jannah. Okay? This is reflection of their thought about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See? We should be fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should say, Allahumma ajni min nar. But on the other hand, we should have the high expectation about Allah. That's why Al-Hasan al-Basri, he did say, if an announcement came that everyone is going to go to hellfire except one person, I expect to be that person. If they said everyone is going to paradise except one person going to hellfire, I expect to me be that person. Why? This no contradiction here, because he has the greatest thought about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he has the greatest fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he did say, I'm going to be according to the thought of my servant. Okay? Because we declared that we are incapable of knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, incapable of surrounding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So, what rule we were given? We were given this rule from, I'm going to be according to your thought. So that's why we should have this great thought about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This doesn't contradict with our fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And toward the end of our life, we should have much more major good thought in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did say, لا يموتن أحدكم إلا وهو يحسن ظنه بربه. Okay, don't let anyone die without having the highest good thought in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he said, وَأَنَا مَعَ عَبْدِي إِذَا دَعَانِ. Okay, again this or ma'iyya, special ma'iyya. It's not the same common ma'iyya of وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. Okay, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may use this as a common, may use it as special. And I look at the whole session here as a special. I hope many of your people, or you got to know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something that you don't know. And this is special setting, a special opportunity given to you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to let you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala much more. I hope sincerely, from inside the heart, that this is going to be applicable, to our practice. Not going only to be only a theory, about Allah. No, it's going to be practical point, in our relation. We'll start new relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala according to that. Move to next hadith. الحديث الرابع عشر. حدث أبو الوليد بن أحمد المعافري حدث أبو الحسن شريح بن محمد الرعيني حدثنا ابن منظور القيسي حدثنا أبو ذر حدثنا ابن مكي الكشميهني والحموي والمستملي عن الفربري عن أبي عبد الله البخاري عن قيس ابن حفص عن خالد بن الحارث عن شعبة عن أبي عمران الجوني عن أنس يرفعه إن الله يقول لأهون أهل النار عذابا لو أن لك ما في الأرض من شيء كنت تفتدي به قال نعم قال فقد سألتك ما هو أهون من هذا وأنت في صلب آدم ألا تشرك بي شيئا فأبيت إلا الشرك.
14th Hadith. According to Anas, the Prophet, may God give him blessings and peace, said, God shall say to one of the people of the fire who's enduring the lightest of punishments, if you possessed everything on earth, would you then redeem yourself with it? To which he will reply, yes, I would. Then he will say, I asked of you something easier than that, when you were still in the loins of Adam, that you should not associate anything with me, yet you refuse to do anything else but associate.
Again, here we have the famous copies, of Bukhari. Abu Dhar, Harawi one, Kushmihani, the other one, Hamawi, Mustamli. These are the famous copies, of Sahih al-Bukhari. We have Al-Firabri, is the most famous narrator, of Sahih al-Bukhari. We have some other people, but Al-Firabri is the most famous. This is about the chain. Then we speak about the reality of it. What I understand here, all of us, without exception, we have a chance, we have an opportunity, as long as we are alive, to improve our position, to improve our relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay? To save ourselves, from the hellfire, to be eligible to go to paradise. Not because we are going to dictate on Allah, no, but because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did make some rules, did establish some rules, and whenever you use these rules, you put in your mind, in Allah la yukhlifu al-mi'ad. Allah is not going to break His promise, when He promised you to have this or that. Okay. Who is the one break the promise? We are the one who break the promise. Okay. I'm sorry to tell you, we are very bad practitioners in this life, and we still have plenty of time, according to this, to improve ourselves, to change our attitude, to change our habit, and you name it. But don't misunderstand me or anyone else. Don't think that since I'm young, I'm going to live for a long life. It's just not necessary. You may have some very young person, die, pass away, and you have very old one who's going to live much more. Okay, so that's why you should have what we call in Arabic qisar al-amal. Your hope or expectation, life expectation, should be too short. When one of the most beloved person to the Prophet, Sayyidina Usama ibn Zayd, he bought an item, and he's going to pay it after 1 month. What was the comment of the Prophet? Look at Usama, who has this long amal, طول الأمل. He said he's going to pay after 1 month. Usama ibn Zayd was less than 20 years old, in that particular event, Yet the Prophet ﷺ, he wants all of us, to have this short expectation, of this life. Okay, try to get maximum of your life as long as you are alive. Okay, when it's done, the game is over. They mentioned in the stories that a person passed through a cemetery, and he prayed 2 rak'ahs, and he was too tired, he sat down, and he slept. And he did see one of those attendees, of that cemetery, telling him, you see these 2 rak'ahs, for us is much more important than the whole life. For us, as an alive person, what is 2 rak'ahs, It does just take me, 1 minute or so or whatever. But for those who are deceased, who are these diseased people? They are similar to us. They are humankind. They are children of Adam. Some of them may be my great-grandfather or this or that, Yet they have this look, to those activities. When you say Subhanallah, when you have reciting, some verses, of the Quran, when you do a prayer, when you do this, when you do that, and really we got this as habitual matter, sometimes we get fed up of it, and really these are the matters, these are the items according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is going to determine our future, and we should have much better care than them, This reminded me, I remember this story, that in one of the ghazawat of the Prophet ﷺ, that when the night came, he assigned one muhajiri and one ansari to guard them, to guard the whole army. And the ansari told the muhajiri, you want the first half or the second half? He said, no, I want the second half. And the first half was the responsibility of that particular ansari. Subhanallah, I don't know, yani. Either they are crazy or I'm crazy. I don't know. Okay? This person, guarding, the army of the Prophet, and he want to spend the night praying. Okay? And he start prayer, and one of the mushrik or the fighters, against the Prophet ﷺ was there, and he shot an arrow, and he hit him badly, and the blood started coming. What did he do? Did not shout, just took the arrow, Maliki Yawmiddin, he carried on, and he has another arrow. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, is kept, Then the third one, and he interrupted his prayer. Why? Why did you interrupt? He said, you see, they have some taste that I don't have. He said, I was in a surah. I would like to complete that surah. According to some narration, it was Surah Al-Kahf. Yeah, I know Surah Al-Kahf. No, I don't know Surah Al-Kahf. Okay? I don't know Surah Al-Kahf. I know how to recite Surah Al-Kahf. But the reality of it, or those luxurious, areas, but I don't know it, That person, he did know them, much better than me. He said, I would like to carry on this surah, and if it's not the case that I may be the reason, behind having the enemies, attack the army of the Prophet ﷺ, I would like to carry on, reciting this surah regardless of the arrows, the numbers of arrows that I have. You see, and he just interrupted his prayer, fearing that the Prophet ﷺ and his army may be attacked badly, because of this particular man, and that's why he interrupted his prayer. Okay, you see, they have some relation with Allah. They have some taste. They have something, I don't know how to express it, I feel it inside myself. Then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most just one, When you have such a person like this, and you have a person like me, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala treat us the same, it's going to be unjust. Because that person is too sincere, real lover of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay? He would like to recite Surah Al-Kahf. I don't know how many times did he recite it, and he would like to have night prayer with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This person, what's he going to do? He's going to show himself, in front of everyone. Then he will go back to bed, and sleep, and be like jifatun bil-layl, himarun bil-nahar, okay? And this is the whole story, about him. Are they same? No. In my standard, in my scale, they are not the same, you know. And this is my expectation, you know. I have very good thoughts, you know, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have very bad thoughts, you know, about myself. And by those balanced way, you know, to have the good thoughts, you know, about Allah subhanahu and the very bad thoughts, you know, about yourself, you know, inshallah, all of us we are going to survive, you know, and be saved, you know. And here, I look at this hadith number 14 as we are in an opportunity, all of us, you know, we have been given a chance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have given the time. Many of us, they have been given the health. Many of us, they have been given the wealth. Okay, many other factors that we speak about to make our life closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In our philosophy, we'll say that we are too close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said no. He was telling, you know, the companion, what do you think, you know, when you have a plate come to you and plate go away from you, which was unusual nowadays, you know. I was invited on lunch, alhamdulillah. We have a lot of plates, we have different type of foods, you know, and this is the ordinary way all the time almost we have such a thing, you know. Whereas those companions, those great companions, you know, if he has just one single plate, you know, to fill his stomach is going to be a great favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to him. The Prophet ﷺ didn't pass away, you know, without filling his stomach, you know, with the barley loaves, you know, or whatever, you know, that regard. What do you think when you have one plate come and one plate go, and when you have, you put those curtains, you know, like when you put these clothes, you know, on the Holy Kaaba, and when you have the Persian and Roman people, you know, they serve you. With the companion who was in very hard physical life, was like imagination, you know. They said, Ya Rasulullah, we are going to be better off than today. He said, no, you are today better than that day. We speak about the companion, about ourselves, you know, we are very good, okay? But those companions, you know, those bad companions, billah, they are much better, you know, when they have this hard life with the Prophet ﷺ than when they have this luxurious. When we compare it to our life, you know, it's not luxurious at all, you know. Yani, as I said before, we have this massive opening of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have this opportunity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's all of us, you know, work hard to make those matters, you know, make you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is really, yani, by summary, by two words. The Prophet ﷺ was sitting and a person was sitting there and he said, Allahumma inna as'aluka tamam al-ni'mah. The Prophet ﷺ said, ask him, do you know what the meaning of tamam al-ni'mah, the complete of favor? Tamam al-ni'mah dukhul al-jannah. When you have any favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is going to enable you to enter heaven, this favor has been completed. Okay. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Sayyidina Usman ibn Affan, gave Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Auf this huge amount of money according to their time, not according to our time, I believe they have tamam al-ni'mah of it. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did give Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq this smart way, you know, of making those who are disputing with each other, you know, to come with each other, this before Islam, this is skill, you know, you may have it, you may not have it, you know. I think he has tamam al-ni'mah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib, you know, raised up in the house of the Prophet ﷺ and get connected to the Prophet ﷺ till the end of his life. He's the one who took care, you know, of washing the Prophet ﷺ and shedding him, you know. This is tamam al-ni'mah, okay? He has the complete. You have some people next to the Prophet ﷺ, they did not get tamam al-ni'mah. They said the neighbors of the Prophet ﷺ in Mecca, you have many neighbors, you know, around the house of the Prophet ﷺ. All of them, they were kafir. That's what they said in Sirah. Except one person, he became Muslim, and till the end of his life, you have some large question mark about his Islam. You see, physically, the Prophet ﷺ was among them, mixed with them, And this for me is not only ni'mah, this is one of the greatest favor, that you have in your life. And for them, it was not completed. Okay? When the Prophet ﷺ immigrated to Medina, those people kept speaking, about the Prophet ﷺ. The ni'mah was not completed, it was completed on the other side, on the Aus and Khazraj, Ansar. Okay. So we are here. We have, as I said, I'm going to repeat it, we have this massive opening of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Food-wise, clothes-wise, house-wise, car-wise. I look at the poorest person in our time has much more luxurious life than the kings, of that particular time. I just imagine, we went outside to move, and it was quite hot, outside, If you have Kisra, or Caesar, that hot weather, and you have 20 person, moving the air, around him. Is it equal to this air condition that you have? No way. Okay. We are drowned on the favors of Allah subhanahu. Please, all of you, make it work for you to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? This luxury, don't make it, take you away or ship you away of Allah subhanahu. To make you go with Allah subhanahu. This is the reality of the Quran. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in the Quran? إِنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ فَلَا تَغُرَّنَّكُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا وَلَا يَغُرَّنَّكُمْ بِاللَّهِ. All of your people, you have an appointment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent out our great parents, Adam and Hawa from heaven, He gave a promise that those who are righteous among us, they are going to return back to heaven. Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala going to break this promise? No way. Who is going to break the promise? Our people. Okay? What the main thing, to break that particular promise? فَلَا تَغُرَّنَّكُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا is the first item. وَلَا يَغُرَّنَّكُمْ بِاللَّهِ الْغَرُورُ, namely the devil, and this is the second one. Exactly the same. We as Muslims, we have an appointment with the Prophet ﷺ. He was on the pulpit, on the last talk, the very last talk, and he promised that he's going to wait for us on the watery pool. Is he going to break that particular promise? No. Who's going to break that promise? We will. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ seconded this by saying, ما الفقر أخشى عليكم ولكن أخشى أن تفتح عليكم الدنيا كما فتحت على الذين من قبلكم فتنافسوها كما تنافسوها فتهلككم معها. I'm sorry I have this long talk. What I'm trying to say, all of us, we have this opportunity. We have time for all of us, We may have many other factors. I think all of us, we have many other factors. Let's have these factors only work for us, for our benefit, for our interest, in the hereafter. Then we'll stop here, and we'll have it for having some questions, and answers.
Two people asked regarding Hadith number 11, what it means to love someone for the sake of Allah. Like, what are the signs of it, and how do we know that we truly love them for the sake of Allah?
Love. All of the humankind, they love. They have this love. Except perhaps you have some special exception for those weird people or those who have psychiatric problem, or whatever. Out of nature, all of us, we love our children. Out of nature, all of us, we love our parents. What the difference between us, and between those who love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The man or the woman who love his parents, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though these parents, they may be lower in their intelligence, lower in their money, they may have some certain commands that doesn't fit his logic, thought, he's going to obey them Why? Because he loved Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never change. He loved these people, out of his love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas the others, when they have their parents, as such, they will ship them, to the nursing home. You see, this is one of the main difference, physical difference that this reminded me of this story, I was sitting with, in my view, a great sheikh, and another person was sitting there, expressing his feeling. Ya Sayyidi, I love you, and that sheikh kept telling him, you should have a cut of your mustache here. Apparently, he felt that sheikh, that the person, not only from outside, from inside, he doesn't have the full response to this. Kept saying it, you should have a cut here. Okay? This, to my surprise and shock, that person, listen, even though you are my sheikh, I know much better than you, okay? I'm not going to listen to you. Ya Latif, what's going on here, you see? Here, to be nice and to say nice wording, it's easy, everyone. But to have submission to humankind similar to you, or perhaps less than you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed you to put yourself down for that person. This is the greatness about it. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala manifests, everyone is going to put himself down, regardless. Is believer or non-believer, this or that. But when it shows its greatness, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told you, for your parents, وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَ جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. Okay? How come that these people, they are much less than me? They don't have the money that I have. They don't have the education that I have. They have Alzheimer. They have this. They have that. Okay? When you are going to judge it, according to the nature, you may have otherwise. But when you judge it to the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I love my parents because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, never change. That's why, okay, before the Muslim become a materialistic, the percentage of divorce was quite low, among the Muslim communities, and it was quite high elsewhere. Why? Because they love each other, as long as they are young, or have beauty, or have money, or have this or that. Whenever anything change, it's going to have the breakdown, or the divorce, between them. Whereas the Muslim spouses, they are not going to be as such. Okay, why? Because they love each other out of the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the Prophet ﷺ did say, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِهِ وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي. Even though that I hate this, a lot, or whatever, I'm going to do it, because I'm interested, on being one of that list, that the Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي. Okay? You got my point? This is, you may call it maslaha or whatever. There's people, much higher than me, those who are interested out of their love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, regardless. They are not interested in the list, they are not interested in the description or whatever, but they love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the way, if I want to make the long story short, when you have the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything is a subject to last forever, to have the continuity. When you have it for other reasons, according to anything in this life, it's going to be changed, and the love is going to be changed accordingly.
There are four different people who asked about Hadith number 9's description of Allah's throne being upon the water. What does that mean, and why is that mentioned here?
We feel ourselves as part of creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we are the greatest one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did say, لا خلق السماوات والأرض أكبر من خلق الناس. Okay. So we have a mystery, in many of those matters, that is beyond my imagination. Okay. You have that particular hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did say in Quran, وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. The inhabitant, of each heaven, according to one hadith, it tells that we in this globe, we are going to be too small, when we are compared to the inhabitant of the first heaven. When you have the people of the globe and first heaven, compared to the people, the inhabitant, of second heaven, they are going to be too small. And you have all the way till you have 7 heavens. Then you have those 7 heavens and what's included inside. As the Prophet ﷺ did say, we are like a ring, in a desert, when you compare us to the Qudsi. وَفَضْلُ الْعَرْشِ عَلَى الْكُرْسِي كَفَضْلِ الْفَلَاةِ عَلَى الْحَلَقَةِ. Okay, again, you have the same comparison when you have the whole Qudsi and what's contained, وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. When you have it against the throne, okay, it's going to be the same, like a ring, in a desert. Then you have, this is for me, physically, beyond my imagination, but I believe in it completely. Okay. Then you have this great creation, which, if you want to compare it, I'm not going to be similar to germ, or virus, when you compare me to that great, creation. It's floating, on water. What is the meaning of it, to be honest with you, I don't know exactly what. I have complete belief in it. I feel it tells us about the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the same time, in indirect way, it tells me how small, how negligible, how not important, I am to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the believer is important to Allah.
There are 2 people who ask about Hadith number 11 with regards to fear of Allah. They ask, how can we reconcile between fearing Allah and also having a good opinion? And one person said, how can we fear Allah when we know His mercy and kindness is unlimited?
We practice it in life. When you love a person, a lot. You love that person, have good relation with him, and we are quite fearful of him, that when you say good morning, that is going to feel, unhappy, about you. You are going to be quite sensitive, to that person. Here, when you have this relation with Allah, I personally, I'm sorry, perhaps I'm not the best one, to explain this, but I feel this is the nature, of it, When you have very strong relation with someone, you have open channel with someone, you have very sensitive issue there, that you are fearful that any of your behavior or any of your statement or whatever may make that person, get angry with you. So I don't see the fear contradict with the good thoughts, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And this should be the attitude all of us. When you speak about the extremes, you are going to find why you should have it. Because if you have extremely secure from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, some may reach the point of aman min makrillah, which is an enormity. Those who have the extreme fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they may have one of the 2 enormities, al-qunutu min rahmatillah or al-ya'su min rawhillah. And these 3 items, they are enormities. That's why out of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all believers, they have this balanced way, of the security and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think out of our relation, we should fully understand it. Even if you don't love the person, when you work for that person, and he's your boss, okay, you are going to have very nice work, for him, and you are fearful of him, all the time, okay. For sure, that boss may treat you unjustly, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to treat you unjustly.
Last question before we take a break. From Hadith number 6. Who are the three types of people, or what are the three types of people who are not terrified on the day of judgment?
If I remember them very well, Imam Adil, the just governor, a person who memorized the whole Quran and he led the prayer for certain amount of time, I don't think it was mentioned the Hadith, and the people, they are pleased with him. And the third one, the one who called for azan, muazzin, without having any salary or whatever for 7 years. These are the three items mentioned by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Jazakumullah khair. That will conclude our 5th session. We have one more session that we will start in 10 minutes, inshallah. So we'll